Hello and welcome. 30 frames a second. That's right. Let's get the show started. Hit it, control room. Let Nat do the work from now on. Nat actually changed the opening. And by the way, do we all love it?
Love it.
I love it. Veronica was already trying to figure out some of the special effects because these techies do that kind of thing. Hello and welcome to 30 frames a second. That's right, in case you haven't figured it out, today is Takeover Tuesdays. We are the women of the control room when you see Nat out front taking over. Today, my name is Luciera. I always forget to introduce myself, and I am just one of four very special ladies today that will be bringing our show to you. Next to me is Miss Sheila Berry. Sheila is the executive producer of the Gospel Showcase. She also works on, of course, 30 Frames a Second and our Community Cop show, and Dr. Albert A. Lewis Gospel Hour, the producer of that. Next to her, yay, Nikki West. And Nikki is long needed, I would say long overdue, but she's been here with us now. We discovered her in the audience once. Communication specialist, and she's also the creator of Pitful. I like that, Pitful,
yes.
And an author. So we are excited to have Nikki here as always. And the woman next to her should need no introduction, but that's what I do when I do what I do. This is Veronica Kitt. She is the founder of the People's Film Festival. She is the producer and executive director of the VK Report. And she's a director and writer and editor and camera person and all around cool chick. Yeah, that's going to be your new title, cool chick. Yeah, you're cool. You're hot. You're hot. Welcome to Takeover Tuesday. For those of you who will be with us for the first time, again, we are the women who take over once in a while when Nat allows us to. But when you see Nat out front, we are in the back. So that's what we do, and we are happy to be here, live and well, standing.
Yes.
I can't speak for anyone else, but quite honestly, this has been one of the hardest months I've gone through, honestly, in about 10 years. In about 10 years. So before we go into anything like that, why don't we start with some of the topics that are going on today?
Well, we can't say that we have a lack of topics
because
there is a lot.
Well, if we were going to discuss positive, we would have probably a lack of topics but let's go with the most recent. What has happened in Las Vegas? What's happened in Las Vegas?
It's unfortunate.
If I'm correct, the count is up to 59.
Dead.
Am I correct? Dead and so many injured. And it's one of the worst, if not the worst.
They're saying it's, considered the worst in our modern history, but it's still so raw and so fresh. And I think, like myself and like you guys, a lot of people are still basically processing what really transpired, and we really need to take stock and just look around us because, we talk about law of attraction and what you put out into the universe is like what you get. And there's so much confusion and turmoil and upheaval, not only in our lives, but just in the world, politics, the community. And look what's happening with Mother Nature right now. It's like hurricane after hurricane, storm after storm, upheaval after upheaval. So as a nation, as people of citizens of the human race, we really need to sit back right now and look at the energy that we're putting out into the universe, because law of attraction says you give what you get, and look at what Mother Nature is giving back to us right now.
Love what you said, citizens of the human race. not the Latin race, not this race, of the human race. And now I'm not, because I've been on the road traveling, have they figured out exactly from whence this person, why this person decided to, was it
Still trying
was
to
it
get
mental?
Right.
Was it?
It's still so fresh.
His
They're
own brother can't
investigating.
even understand it.
He's never been in trouble. I've
He's never
heard.
been in trouble.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's sad though.
And an accomplice as well? Was there a
they
female?
thought it was his girlfriend, I heard, but now I'm understanding she wasn't even
Right.
there.
I think they
Probably in
ruled
the
her out. That's why
Okay.
they're calling him the quote unquote lone wolf.
Okay.
That the post is really much getting a lot of backlash for, because people feel like they're not labeling it and giving it the correct narrative that he's a homegrown terrorist. And they're saying that because of his appearance that they're changing the narrative. They're softening the blow, they're softening his character, and not labeling him for the atrocity that he just pretty much inflicted on the whole nation.
There's more behind it than we think. He's out there, and what's given about him is that he was so nice and he never been in trouble, but we don't know who he really was connected to. Our minds are thinking that he did this on his own because they can't prove anything different, but it could be an undercover situation that we could think is just coming that way when it's really coming from another way. No place is safe now. I'm not even over the Charleston episode where people were in church and the man went in there and shot up everybody, and now people pay their money and go for a vacation, but it's still to put your mind on that and not really know what's really going on, because it could be a big attack that's being planned by some organization that he could be a part of, and they can't find out about it. People have minds and they think in different ways.
Do we find that when one group does something, it's labeled different, it's talked about different, it's reported differently? Whereas it can be Muhammad with his head wrapped in a towel and something happens, and that's something. But if it's John Smith, who's from that suburban area, and all he did was play videos in the basement and learn to kill, then it's not as, I guess what I'm asking, I can put that on the same playing field as the drug epidemic that I'm hearing now. Heroin has taken over, and now we need more centers and things, but when it was the same thing when it came to crack and drugs like that, because it was lower income, because it was in urban America,
wasn't
then
in your communities,
it wasn't.
in
Yeah, then it
suburbia.
was. Yeah, then it was put them in jail. But now all I hear is we need more centers. We need more.
The proof is in the pudding. The question is already answered. The proof is already out there that for different people, different cultures, different races, the narrative is usually given differently. And this is why a lot of the news organizations are getting backlash, because of the narrative they're now putting on this man who has now brought upon us the worst murders in modern history. And you're saying that he's a quiet guy, he doesn't have, a
Any
history of
affiliation,
violence, he
he
doesn't have
doesn't-
an affiliations of any other, organizations. He's a lone wolf. But look at what this lone wolf has done.
He came in there with an arsenal.
An arsenal.
And met,
Like
in
23
the
rifles.
Yes, in the
and-
hotel. No one stopped him or noticed him. It's interesting because now that you're saying what you said, and this is something real simple. No, I'm not going to say that. But anyway, I understand exactly what you mean, because when you think about Katrina, they called them refugees. And then we had this similar incident in Florida. They were not called anything.
And Texas.
In Texas, yes.
Are they going to lose their land? Are they going to get
Yeah.
displaced?
But it's the way they were portrayed. So a lot of times they do that. And I don't know if we blame or if we say it's just the media, or is it our perception of how we view one another. Here it is, like you said, the lone wolf a man who did this alone, he's a good person. You remember when Trump said, he was like, those are good people. I know those people
Yes.
down there
Yeah, with
that
the
were
neo-Nazis.
marching and protesting.
The neo-Nazis,
they're good. I know some of these
it
guys.
takes two. It
Yeah.
takes two. This takes me back to something being
But
of
their
an
ideology.
interracial family. Once when I was young and someone called me nigger, my father, who is not African American, I said, Dad, well, I don't want to be with them. And he said, no, that's not what I'm raising you. He said, always understand something. If someone calls you a name like that, you have choices, and I don't want you to pick it outside. I don't want you to say, I don't want to work for them and pick it, because that's not going to hurt them. So I actually want you to suck it up and get a job in there. And I want you to take it, but I want you to be smart enough to write things, document things. I want you to find one other person, whether they be black, white, or Hispanic, who will help you write things. If you can get one other person a job in there, whether they're white or black, but they see your vision and you guys pull it together so you have proof, you have to make the change from within. Standing outside and calling somebody a name, standing outside together and protesting, we got to get in. So, that being said, do we need to get, is it a lack of we're not recognizing ourselves in politics, we're not running for this, we're not voting for each other, when we run, we're not supporting our cause so people don't want to vote for us. What is it?
No, we should stand up and fight. We should do both instead of sitting there and being quiet, because I think that if we spoke out more, if we marched, if we protest more, we probably would have affected change, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm going to get back in, I'm going to get up in that corporation and I'm going to, yes, a lot of times you need to be in there, especially like some of our departments, police departments, but we need to see more people of color in these institutions to affect policy change, instead of standing back saying, oh, I'm angry or whatever. So you do both, but you do, because when we don't speak out, it's okay. I feel that, you know, oh, I'll just do it again. It's like, look what's happening with Korea. I'll shoot off a missile. Oh, they didn't do anything. I'm gonna shoot another one off. I'm gonna do, it's like when you do not fight back, the bully is gonna continue to come at you. When he knows that it's not okay, that I'm gonna fight back, then, you know, he's gonna stop and take, okay, well, you know, wait a minute, this person is not going to accept this. But I say do both. That's me.
Protesting can get you in trouble with our president, especially if you play football. I'm just in awe that to call the football players son of a
bitches.
That's our
sons.
And yeah, and I love that one of the mothers went on and actually said, did he just call me a such and such, and he doesn't even know me, because he called my son a son of a. Yeah. So peaceful protest, and correct me if I'm incorrect, was what our country was founded on. Peaceful protest. Whenever one group of people feels as if their government or officials are against them, they have to fight back. They have to fight back. So the football players did not curse anybody out. They didn't shoot a birdie. They didn't even say, we're not going to play football, so we hurt them financially. They said, I cannot stand for a song that is supposed to represent love and fairness and honesty for all, and I don't feel it does. So I'm not going to stand for this song.
Well,
so when you say protest,
racist.
Well, when you say protest, they tried to protest, and look what's happening.
But you know what? He took a stance. He said, I'm not going to accept this or tolerate being used this way. I heard someone call the football game the plantation, because it's largely represented by people of color. If they took a stand collectively and just walked, can you imagine what would happen to that great game, this American game? They too are Americans, but yet the symbol that you use to portray your greatness does not reflect who they are as men, as human beings in our country. So yeah, I can see Trump saying, oh, this is American game, and it is American game. And these are American players who have been disenfranchised for 400 years.
But throughout history, you would see that there has, at least for the leaders within our community, there has not been a separation, because there cannot be a separation of it. Because once you get that platform, you have to speak out, because the reason why you fought for that platform in the first place, the reason why Jackie Robinson took all the abuse that he did, is because he knew getting his foot in that door was giving others
And
that
I see,
platform.
and I see your example your father gave
You know,
just
giving them that
saying
flat platform. So people might view Jackie Robinson as they're quick to say, or a coon or a
Sellout.
sellout. Like I'm seeing, like right now, there's supposed to be a boycott of Tina for Mary, because she supposedly, I don't know how true it is, she voted for Trump. And they're calling a boycott of her and her music and her platform.
I thought voting was private.
And I was reading the comments, and one person, you know, with the sense enough to say, listen, before we label this person as a coon and again boycott this woman who blessed and changed so many lives.
Oh my God.
Why not have her on your platform? Why not invite her on your platform to have a meeting of the minds and share a point of view? And it's a fine line. There's a fine line between having an opinion, between disagreeing with people, and because somebody did something as a vote for this individual, but you don't want to find out the rationale and the reasoning behind the behavior. You're just identifying the behavior, then what are you really going to change? Because you don't have an understanding of the rationale behind the behavior, because you didn't come to the table and have a conversation. So now, all you're going to do now is reprimand the
I'm
behavior.
gonna take it
and
one
discipline
level
the
over.
behavior.
You've become what you hate.
Exactly.
You've become it, because most things are based, on ignorance. Most things are based on fear. I don't know you. I'm afraid there are too many brown people coming in the world. I'm afraid you're taking this from me, you're taking this. And it just becomes a cycle when no one sits and acknowledges and talks.
What's the direction? My thing is, you're telling everybody to stay woke, be woke, make sure you work, and you're giving out all these information. And we're being bombarded with so many information, so many statistics, so many facts, so many opinions, that nobody is sitting down. So I'm just gonna support you because you're black, you're brown, you look like me.
I don't roll like that.
You know, and I see it's a fine line, because everybody is saying it's anything black support, but that black person could be a murderer just like that Caucasian person, or just like that Indian person could be a murderer. I have to do my due diligence. Yes, my first instinct is to, because these are my brothers and sisters, I want to support. But I'm not going to vote you into government based off of you being my skin color, because guess what, we have to go back before there were a lot of infiltrators.
Wow.
So I'm following you just because you look like me, but you could be an infiltrator. So that's why we have to stay woke in the aspect of doing our due diligence and not just be following blindly because we look like each other.
Yeah, but getting back to Tina or anyone, who have the right, or why should you question? I thought voting was private on who she vote for. Why does she have to have a platform to explain why she voted for Trump? When she go and put that paper in, that is her vote and her right.
She probably told someone that
Right.
she voted for Trump.
Well, you have to. Nobody's
because
in the room
nobody
with you.
knows.
And then I heard for the Women's March, she wrote a letter, I think, not condoning the Women's March, but I think identifying the reasons why she voted for Trump and different things. Like I can say, I'm just telling you the surface of it, like what I saw and what I read. And it did something to me, that we can't be so woke that every time we find somebody that's not have the same perspective as us, because we all have different things that speak to us. Like, okay, you want to protest. Colin wanted to take a knee. That was his way of protesting what grieves him. Somebody else may want to go boycott a store. But the thing is, for all of us to take action in our own little way for the things that grieve us. The things that grieve us, become responsible for those things. And cause change to those things. So if everybody pick up a cross and say, okay, this grieves me, so this is what I'm going to focus on. And Lou says, okay, this community youth grieves me. What's happening with our youth? And then you can say what's happening with our seniors. And you say, well, I want to take the People Film Festival a bit farther. That we're using this as a platform to help other people. And then I can say, well, I'm the creator of Pipful Living, so now I want to go and help those, because for Pipful Living, I know that my passion is to enlighten, to embolden, and to encourage, and to empower. So now this is my cross, because I want to enlighten through Pipful Living. I want to show you how to live a Pipful life. I want to show you how, and I want to explain to you what it is for Pipful Living, that now you can go out and live your life so you could affect change for what grieves you. We all have to find our niche. We all have to find our purpose, our passion, and then wherever that road leads us to, that's what we deal with. That's what we deal with.
Let me ask a question. So recently there was a march. They call it the Mother of All Rallies. It's it's a pro-Trump rally. It was in D.C. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, September 16th, something like that. So then you had members from the Black Lives Matter, the president and a couple of the people from the Greater New York chapter go there to this rally, get on the stage and talk to that crowd. There were boos, there was some cheers or whatever. What do you think about that? Here it is, you have two organizations on opposing views or agendas, if you will, actually coming together. They didn't come together, but for him to come there. Would you have done something like that? To be at an anti-Trump rally and you're a pro-black and you're against Trump. So is there a common ground doing this? Us coming together, because if we're saying like what you're saying, if we're saying that, is there a common ground? That's the question. Could we do that? Is it okay to do that?
But how can we have a common ground when you can't even have an opinion without being attacked? You can't even come out and really say what it is that you stand for and why you stand for those things. And, I can have a conversation with anybody. We're going to have a meeting of the minds. And then at some point, it's either we're going to be able to see the commonality in what we want, the common ground, and move from there, or we're not going to see the common ground and we're going to agree to disagree. And you go ahead and do your work, and I go ahead and do my work, and I think my work is right, and you think your work is right, but guess what? I'm doing my work that I'm called to do, just like that individual is doing their work that they're called to do, whether good, bad, or indifferent. That's why we have to know what energy are we putting into the world. Like a lot of people say, well, I'm good with the one child, I'm good with the two child, but then there are the people that have the 5 and 6, but not instilling what the parents that only has the one child. So we're putting out the one child into that world with the good vibrations. And then here's another one who's putting out 5 and 6. So what are we doing to counteract that 5 and 6 compared to our one good vibration? What are we doing?
Yeah, it just got kind of crazy to see the two opposing groups come together. And I guess the overall question is, are we coming together as a people?
No. There has been I would say, a spirit unleashed of just negativity, of hatred, it seems like I'm being called names now. I'm being talked to. I don't know any other way to put it. Just been unleashed on the United States. That it's almost given permission to the racists and the
Is it
just the
because of
hatred.
Trump?
I don't know. I do not know. I don't know if he was just the icing on the cake, that he allowed it. I don't know if it was bubbling.
Yes.
And now
yes.
it's gotten to the surface.
Where people
I don't
are
know.
just
But we're giving one man such power. Because he is in the highest office, it's like he's the face of it. But guess what? If it wasn't there in the first place, he wouldn't have been able to get faced it. So we're giving Trump so much power to say that he's the cause of this. But I rather him be the cause of it because I want to see the devils I'm dealing with.
Me
I
too.
want my devils out in
Me
the
too.
Or
open
you see
than
it
out
now
under
because
cover.
he certainly
too
let
now.
you know.
Definitely.
Me too.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Someone
it's
once said,
letting-
better to know the devil you're dealing with.
So it's shedding light that we do still have a lot to work because they wanted to do away with affirmative action, and now affirmative action. You had Caucasian students suing colleges because they're saying it's infringing
reverse
upon
affirmative,
it's reverse, you know, it's reverse racism. So now you want to do away with affirmative action because we're all on the same playing field. Well, this is showing us that we're not all on the same playing field.
Well,
and
look
we
at
still have
Puerto
a lot
Rico.
to-
Are we all
to
on the same
do.
playing field? Are we, you know, look
Well,
at what's happening in America?
let's talk about that now.
But I had a thought with Black Lives Matter. We have to be so careful again with the narrative. Black Lives Matter was there to say, okay, the injustices against black and brown people is just too much and it has to stop. Now they have changed the narrative of Black Lives Matter that they're now calling it a terrorist. They can label Black Lives Matter a terrorist group, but you can't label the man who did the shooting in Las Vegas a terrorist. He's a lone wolf. He was a good person. And then now we have to look at the narrative for the taking the knee. Now Trump is telling his followers to not follow football because they're protesting how the NFL is allowing.
Let's be honest. You think somebody not sitting at home watching a football game that liked football, do you really think they're going to say, I'm not going to watch on Sunday because I'm protesting?
This'll
I'm sorry,
make-
I don't
But
think.
let's
I don't
take
think
it a
that's
step
Well, I know
further.
people that's been protesting and boycotting the New York Post, the Daily News, and
But let's take it a step
even if
further.
they give it to them for free.
Because somebody was saying
But
that
if you like the game, I don't know.
No.
somebody was saying in regards to they're saying that we're disrespecting the flag and our brothers and sisters who go off to war to protect our freedoms. This individual said, well, when you're at home and the game is on and the anthem is playing, do you stop, do you put your wing down and stand up and put your hand over your chest? Do you stop going into the fridge to reach for that beer? Do you stop your conversation while it's playing on TV?
Wow.
So what you're not holding yourself accountable to, you're not protesting people who are doing it within your home. Do you have that same respect wherever you are? You hear the pledge, you stop and you recite the words of the pledge. Do you stop immediately and pay your respects
I
and
have
pay
never
your
seen
homage
at any
to the
football
flag?
party I was
And-
at that anybody
Exactly.
did that.
Can you
Exactly.
I've never ever
would
seen
be
that.
yeah.
Now let's talk about Puerto Rico. And I think Sheila also brought up the Virgin Islands, did
Yes,
you
I
say?
did.
Which hasn't been mentioned at all.
That's right.
I've had quite a few cancellations with international girls coming to work with me, also because of the weather
They are
situation, and it
Americans.
just yeah.
They
But are they really?
Yes.
But it's
Are they
one
treated?
Of our states.
Excuse
me.
Yeah.
Are
no,
they
they're-
treated?
No, they're not. And you know what hurt me to my heart was when this one particular village, when they finally got resources coming in, they gave them 4 bottles of water.
Yes.
And the woman, well, she had a baby in her arm, so if it was per person, then the baby should have had his 4 bottles of water. That hurt me to my heart. I was like, oh my God. And then to hear Trump say that they're doing good, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Maybe in his mind, because he sees the workflow and everything moving, maybe he's saying that's good. But the reality is, overall, you're not doing enough. It needs to be quicker, it needs to be faster, because these people are devastated right now.
I know people who just came back that live in my building. They're getting ready to go back, and they said the media is not really telling it
The truth,
all
everything
like
is
it is. It's
I can
horrible over there, and I mean horrible. I've heard some crazy stories.
So on a daily basis, I think we talk about this often, to just be grateful. I personally think it's the key to happiness, to be grateful. I think what I call the enemy likes to embark on you. You're not good enough, you're not thin enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not rich enough. And for us to be grateful, but I think as much as going on in the United States that we are upset about, we still have, you know, when you compare Texas I think, to Puerto Rico. If you were to compare in devastation, I think we came, and maybe that's because of what happened in New Orleans. Maybe we're learning. I don't know, but I'm just.
Well, the response to get to New Orleans versus the response to get to Texas, you know, and then like you said, the media and how they identified the people. It really has a lot to do with your association and how you personally identify with the people. So then the question becomes, are we really American, or are we, and if we are, well, we are Americans, but are we looking at it from various different divisions in terms of hierarchy, in terms of class, socioeconomic status? I mean, are we looking at it from that perspective? Because if we are, then the hell with America. This it has nothing to do with anything. We can live on the moon.
I know. You know, United States, and because I've lived abroad, United States is the only place I find people say African American, Indian American, Asian American. You know, in France, you're just French.
Wow.
You're just French, which is why working with such models as Naomi Campbell, Naomi used to get it because she'd say, I'm not black, I'm a Brit. And people would say, doesn't she know she's black? They don't say black Brit.
But do they
or
have
Asian
to?
Brit.
Because
No, but why do we?
Exactly. We've been called everything. Negroes, colored.
Yeah, but why are we African American? Why aren't we
Well,
just
I can
American?
Well,
Why
I
aren't
have
we
a friend that
Asian
was,
American?
that's from Africa, and she's white. She came to America. Now she's an African American, and she's a white woman. So then
Yeah,
what
but it's
are
not
we?
a color. No, it's not. I'm not even saying
Exactly.
it's a
So
color.
then right.
Why are we Asian?
Why
Why,
do we
does
have
it have
to
to
do
be
this
Asian
whole-
American? If you were born here and you're Asian, why aren't you just American? Why are you Asian American? Why are you Indian American?
Right.
Why are
and
you
why isn't
American
it not?
Indian?
It's just, and for the Caucasians, they just fall under Caucasian. It's not their
Yes.
Russian American. It's not their European American.
American? No,
they're just
American.
So I see your point. Yeah, I
But
get it.
I was told that we're African American because we don't know what country we came from. If someone
In
come from
Africa?
Africa is a continent. You know, and say, I
So
know
we
people
wouldn't
from
say that we're-
Liberia,
Right.
Nigeria, you know, different countries. They know
We
what
can't
country
say
they-
we're West African,
we don't
so
know.
you just put a broader span
then
on
we're
it.
Well,
American.
I don't want to just
That's
say
what I was
African.
told.
I don't want to just say African American. I just want to know why it's what you are, an American, and in other countries it's not.
Well, other countries you're known, but you're identified by your religion.
Well,
You
no.
know?
When they say they're a Brit has nothing to do. They could be Catholic or Christian or Jewish. It's just that when I'm in other countries, they're French. They're not African
When I went
French.
to
My
the-
friends who are African who live there are not African French. They're not Asian French. They're French. I'm French.
When I was in Barbados, they're Barbadian. They're
Bajans.
not
Yes.
African
A Barbadians,
at all.
or-
and
I
that
know.
was one of the main
Bajan.
ports of where they
Bajan, yes.
dropped the slaves off. So, but when you, it's sad. But these hierarchies are designed so that they can have a class system, and that class system enables one person to have more than the others and to treat others differently.
And then you're seeing yourself, once the class is already in there, well, I'm African American, you have already in your head too set aside that you're not just American. You know, it's just like African American history. Why can't it just be American history? It's a part of American history, but why does it have to be a separate people? Aren't we all here on the continent of North America?
We're
Like,
gonna
aren't we all
destroy
here?
ourselves with this.
You know, because we are so, we always look for what's different about us.
Yes.
Why is it that we're
Yes.
so prone to look for what's
Yes.
different
Yes.
instead of
Because we're
What
so
we have in
unique.
common.
unite?
What we
Yes,
have in
instead
common.
of those
we're so
commonalities.
unique. Well, Lynch is the person that's said to keep us all divided, and that's why we have a certain type of mindset. But when we start looking and finding out the truth about our history, we are a peculiar and unique people.
Well, we're a powerful, strong.
Well, when are we going to
brilliant-
tap into that? Because I was listening to a T.D. Jakes sermon, and he was like, come on, we are free. When are you going to stop moving like you're free? You know, when are you going to get the mindset of I'm free? Because he was saying he has a problem with celebrating Juneteenth He said because it's like you're being stuck. It's like you're celebrating, but what are you celebrating?
That's
you're
over,
free.
a long
It's
time ago.
over.
Yeah.
You're free. So why are you still stuck in that process? And the thing is to know your history, but people are getting stuck
But
in that history.
is it important to remember certain
No,
things?
it is.
Yes.
It's very important to
Yes, it
remember because
is.
in order
this
to
Jew
know
says, never,
where
ever
you're
forget.
going, you have to know where you came from. But don't get stuck from
With
where
that
you
one
came from,
parti-
that you keep
Can't
carrying that
move it.
load to where you're going. And that's another thing we discuss in Pipful Living, lightening the load. You have to lighten the load like you watch a marathon runner. A marathon runner, you have to observe the wear and how they're running. They're running because they're prepared for the journey because they know the marathon is
They
different
know how
from a
much to
sprint.
eat the night before. They know how much
They're
to drink
mentally
while they're
prepared.
doing it.
They're physically prepared. They're ready and they have lightened the load. So we have to learn how to know where we came from, but to lighten the load to get to our future, to get to that promised land. Else we'll be stuck. We'll be stuck in the desert.
Are we stuck as a people?
Yes.
Some
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
That was fast.
Yes.
Yes.
Some are.
Yes.
Because if we
Yes.
have the information, we know the Jim Crow laws, we know the separation, we know the thing from the house slave to the field slave. We know all those narratives, we know, but are we moving out from there instead of getting stuck? So now we're carrying the past with us and it's weighing on us so heavily that we're stuck in the desert. We're stuck in the desert as a people and the promised land is right in front of us. The promised land is right there.
I used to tell
but we're
somebody
stuck.
so often,
We're
God did
stuck.
not tell me I got to wander in the desert with you. It used to make him very upset when I say that. I'm going to give you an example, Veronica. When I worked for President Barack Obama in voter registration, they put me in front of the school to help people come in. It was at a school in my local poll area. And for the first time, they enforced the law that you couldn't wear a T-shirt with your person that you wanted to vote or baseball. That law has been in existence. You couldn't wear a pen. They made me throw away the 500 cards I had
Oh, that's
on how to
electioneering and
use
steering vote.
on how to use the machine for people who had never used it. We had 90-year-old people coming in to vote that had never used, but they made me throw it away because on the back it said Barack, and the police watched me walk to the corner and throw them away, which I did. So now young people are coming in with T-shirts on. And I would look at them and say, brother, look at me. The police are surrounded. And I said, you can't go in with that T-shirt. Now look at your options. I brought T-shirts right here in every size. So you can put one of mine on top of yours, or you can turn yours inside out.
Wow.
Don't look at the police, brother. Don't look at the police. Don't look at me. Keep looking at me.
Wow, they were
now we
doing
got a
that?
choice. Yes. I said, we got a choice. You can stand out here and fight and argue and scream and how wrong it is, or you can put on one of my clean T-shirts or turn your T-shirt inside out and go in and vote. You'd be surprised how many people got taken away because they wanted to fight.
They didn't choose
and
their
that's what I
battle.
mean. We know. If we know and we
Yes.
sitting here, why are you weighing yourself down with that? They just doing this and they wouldn't do this and you know what? And the police were looking for people to take away. They were looking. So that's just an example that
Feeding
came
into
to
it.
mind.
But let
Yeah,
me
you're
ask a
feeding
question,
into
because
it.
one of the things Nat always says, he always talks about a paradigm shift. I'm curious to know, with all of these natural disasters that we're having, that we all, no matter what color your race is or whatever, are experiencing, and you're losing, and it's sort of like levels this playing field in terms of how we are able to survive. So you have one group of people who have, and another group of person that does not have, and yet, you know, in terms of our population, our demographics, where you know they're saying that it's changing, and you have a larger population of people of color, or really Hispanic, that are here. Will there be a paradigm shift in terms of our power, in terms of our economy, in terms of our politics? Will there be a paradigm shift in which they lose and we gain? Or
see-
should we even care?
I see that money and tragedy magnifies who you are. It doesn't change you. If you're a
people
good
who were online
person,
and they couldn't get
if
money.
you're a good person, you're good. You're giving. You're trying to figure out how I can give.
So
you're
that
trying
has
to.
nothing to
I
do-
don't think a person who is bad or selfish all of a sudden wakes up, and even if they recognize the person who needs help, even if they recognize themselves on TV needing help, it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not there. It's that
It
kind of a
magnifies
thing.
who
But I
you
think it
are.
magnifies. I was often told, when somebody's really, really rich, Lou, don't think they're bad or think they're good. Money only magnifies. And I've realized to those much is given, much is called upon. So I do more now than I did before because I can afford to. I give more to my church, and every girl now is going to get a prom dress. And we didn't just do Manhattan. Now I'm doing Queens and Long Island and Brooklyn. I gave away 85 prom dresses last year, all brand new with tags. And mothers just cry. But that's because I'm that kind of person, and now I can do more. So I'm not seeing selfish people all of a sudden not being selfish because they see a brother or someone that looks like them in need. I am seeing good people come up, and let me tell you something else I'm seeing that I'm so proud of. I'm seeing black and white people hold hands. I'm seeing in the island.
Is that the
when
level of
that
the
there was a
playing
hotel that was ravaged with the storm, that all the people in the hotel working there said, sorry, we got to get home to our family. One person stayed. He was in charge of the talent. He booked the talent. And people came with machetes and tried to break into these tourists that were there. And this one person help them, organize them with sticks, and it's more viewed than it are of the terrorists or the people who are trying to break in or rob you. He got through and got them on airplanes. So I'm seeing black and white saying, you know what? Let's help each other, and let's get out of this. And good is going to help good.
So it's not a shift; it's a coming together. We're coming
I don't
together.
know.
We're looking at each
I don't
other.
know.
But I think
I
you
don't
know,
know.
if we're human,
I don't
and
know.
it's even I always say that with relationships as well, because you have interracial relationships that have the movie Loving that's been on, white and man and a black woman. I always say, hey, if you can find true love, and all of the stuff that we've been through collectively as two races. Then you found true love because you're looking at the person from his core. That you're stripping away all of that.
Well, I
and
say
all
when
of that
the
stuff
aliens
is,
come and rip all our
they're gonna
skin
put you
off.
on more.
When the aliens come and rip all our
But we're
skin off, we're going to love
balancing,
each
we're
other.
finding each other
can I
in these
interject
tragedies.
here? Do you remember the hurricane in the 1990s? I'm not sure whether it was 96 or not. I was in that hurricane in Miami, Florida. I was staying with my cousin. She's dark-skinned, very pretty dark-skinned child. And she was married to an Italian man, so she has, a mixed child. And everyone would speak to this mixed child where she lived. She lived in a very nice, exceptional neighborhood, gated community. But they looked at her as though she was the maid or something. But when the hurricane came, all of these people, and everyone know I'm petrified of dogs sitting at this table, they want to come to her house. They want to knock on the door. They want to ask, is she all right? And I'm screaming, get them with your dogs coming in here. Why are you so nice all of a sudden? They even, I'm brown skinned, and they even spoke to me, before the hurricane, but they wouldn't speak to her. All of a sudden, they want to speak. We go into community centers to get meals, get water and stuff. Oh, we're arm in arm, hand in hand, walking into the same church. They weren't doing that before. The disaster
911.
did it. Now what's happening after the disaster?
We go
in
back
Florida.
to, but that's because of the way the infrastructure is. I mean, we have institutional racism. You'll get a job and you're following a pattern that has been in place for years. Our system here in America is built on race. It's built on, we can't lose sight of that. And I think that happens. It doesn't go away. It's still there. Okay, we united because let me see this. This is my fellow man in the water drowning. Let me help him. Oh, but I live here in, Malibu, and you live in the projects. That's a
it's
reality.
nothing like a tragedy to bring people together.
So
and
should
to
we
bring
live
you
in
back
tragedy?
No, we shouldn't live in tragedy.
I don't think
but
we're going to have much of a choice coming
we
up.
should look at the behaviors and what comes out of tragedy and not wait for a tragedy
And pack your go
to
bag.
be, to be those things to each other and to be there.
You know, my
to
family
be
has a
community.
plan in case all the world, if something happens, I mean, like major thing, we have a plan that we're supposed to get to a certain area of the United States. No, I'm not kidding you. We really have like
And everyone should have a
plan.
plan.
You should have
People
a
come
plan.
in my
You should
house
have
and go, well,
several
why is there
plans.
18 gallons of water on top of your
That's true.
refrigerator? I've
And
never, if
candles.
there's less than 20 gallons of water in my house and people are like, you live by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you'll see.
Yes,
What's wrong with
I've
having
been
extra
told,
water?
You better
and
get
soup?
some water. Always have water.
Like a marathon.
Well, I tell you, when they
Be
had that big
prepared.
explosion over there, right here in Harlem, we had to drink a bottle of water for
to
some
live
time.
in
Well,
I
I
wasn't
did
here.
because my water
Yeah.
was dirt.
116.
And no, you're not going to drink that water. So I mean, that's just small, little microcosm compared to what can happen. I mean,
Veronica,
North
let's
Korea
get on a
is
positive
scary.
note. Let's get on a positive note. What kind of films are you have you been viewing for the
We
People's
actually-
Film Festival?
we just opened up early submissions. Yes. So it's just been a week now, or short of a week, and so everybody can submit their film now early.
Okay, wait. For our viewing audience that does not know what we're talking about, because we're so excited, we forget
People's
you may
Film
not.
Festival.
It's called the People's Film Festival, and we are looking for submissions. Early
Yes.
submissions have begun, and you can submit on many levels,
Yes.
many types of work.
'Cause everybody has a
documentaries,
story to
shorts,
tell.
videos. Yes, now go on. I'm sorry.
And I love it. Everybody has a story to tell. So submit your work. I mean, it's open now until February. Early submissions is open, but the film festival for next year is May 31st to June 3rd, and we're excited about the possibilities of what it's going to bring. And now with the new addition of virtual reality and our art, so it's going to be really amazing. And so we ask everybody.
I want a cartoon
and everyone
character.
has a story to tell, so don't think that my story is not important. Your story is always important, especially to what we do here. Public media. We tape, shoot, work with everyone. So everybody has a story to tell. So tell your
Please,
story
if
with
you
us.
are out there and you pick up the telephone, pick up a video camera, pick something up, start to write, start to document. If nothing else, please bring your children, bring your relatives. It's a great girls' day out. The parties are off the chain, and you just meet some of the most incredible people. And for anyone that knows anything, networking in our city is all the roar. So that's something we are really looking forward to.
Yes.
Nikki, what's going to be happening with you moving forward?
Well, moving forward, as you had introduced me in your opening, I am the writer and creator of Pipful Living. And the last time that we were on set, we were talking about what it is to live a pipful life. And just for like a quick review for the viewers who might not have tuned in last week, the last time that we were on, pipful living is pretty much living in your passion. And your passion is pretty much leads you into your purpose. So once you're in your passion, you're in your purpose. And then you're living with intent. You're living intentionally. And when you're living intentionally, you're goal setting. Every day you wake up with goals and you're executing those goals to get you to the bigger picture, your bigger end result. And then the other P in Pipful is paying it forward. Like how earlier we were talking about community. There's the old saying that it takes a village. We are our brothers and sisters keepers. So Pipful life is about living in your passion, defining your purpose, living with intent. And we touched upon the daily habit work. Daily habit work and your habits determine your future. Determine if your future is going to be a success or if you're going to be stuck in that desert place. So Pipful Living is helping you to get unstuck
And how do people
to get
get
out
more
of
involved?
your desert. So it's actually, since I introduced it, it's actually gaining a lot of momentum. So here after this, we're going to be doing a little taping to delve in deeper. So you can follow me on IG. It's Miss Communicator. Or, you know, like I said, you can get my business email, and it's mvig.strategist@gmail.com. So now this week what we're getting into is, we said, what is pipful living? Is living in your passion, is living with intent, and it's paying it forward, helping each other, uplifting each other. Now we're getting into the how-to. How do you affect and how do you start living your pipful life? And what I'm introducing is a life appraisal. When we are at work, we have a job performance, and it's letting us know if we're on track, it's giving us feedback. So a life appraisal right now is just saying, how well are you doing at life? And there are questions to, you know, take you back, because when we're younger, we're dreamers. And we get busy. We're busy being a husband, we're busy being a wife, we're busy in our careers, and we get so far away. So part of the life appraisal questionnaire, it's 30 questions, and it's like, are you content with where you are currently? And it's taking you back to, as a teenager, what did you daydream about? What careers did you see yourself in? And the question is giving you a point of reference, because like I said earlier, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you're coming from. And the life appraisal questionnaire is basically giving you a point of reference to see, am I on track, and what changes that we need to make. You know, so it's that and hitting the reset button.
Okay.
And also, and I'm taking a lot of time, but it's also touching upon like your New Year's resolution. Instead of having a New Year's resolution, you have to have a new me resolution. A New Year's resolution, you're confining yourself. You're already setting yourself up for failure, because every year I think we all set, for 3 years in a row is to lose 20 pounds. Have I lost the 20 pounds? No, because instead of hitting the reset button and say a new me, you can enact a new me at any point in time.
Yes, you can.
But when you say a New Year's resolution, you're waiting for that time because you're not ready to let go of whatever you're struggling. So you're already setting yourself up for failure, because instead of hitting the reset button to a new you, you're waiting for a New Year resolution in order to start defining the new
Pipful
year.
living sounds great.
Yes.
Great. And Sheila, what will you be up to?
Well, we're doing another makeover. We're going into the hospital and get well. And our church is still in mourning over my brother. And we're asking for resumes, who's interested in being a pastor at the Baptist House of Prayer. And
Well, how would people, the viewing audience, how would they get the resume to?
80-82 West 126th Street. That's the Baptist House of Prayer, New York, 127, New York. And the Gospel Showcase is also looking forward to doing One Nation. That's when people from all other countries all over the world get together, and we have worship, concert, and try to bring people into the church and try to show that there is love and teach people how to love one another correctly.
Great. Sounds good.
Condolences to your church family.
Thank you.
For myself, I am still on the road. I'm doing more choreography. I will be choreographing the Miss Universe beauty pageant coming up in November, where I'm working with 100 countries and 15 translators. So please, if you're a praying person. And next year, I'm venturing into new states for my seminars. I'm excited. I'll be working in Texas for the first time. I'll be working in Missouri as well, and I'll be venturing into Florida to work. So I'm really, really excited. I've given myself a 3-year plan, and if you don't mind Jesus, I hope you're on board with it, because they say if you want to hear God laugh, you tell him your plan. So I'll try to always do his will, but I'm excited for the holiday season coming up. I hope everyone is. Has anyone else started their Christmas shopping already, or am I the only one?
But I have a question.
Yes.
Because look, you mentioned about Miss Universe, Miss America. They are changing in terms of how they speak. or the questions that are being asked to them. So it's almost like, you know how a lot of times you say, oh, they're just models, or they're just the dumb blonde, or they're just pageantry. But yet, these women that are coming in there are doctors, or
engineers,
yes,
scientists.
So there's a
Well, Miss
shift.
USA is a nuclear scientist.
Yeah. So then talk about that,
I'm
because
ju-
it's like,
Veronica,
is that
I'm
the-
going to say, I know that's what, and I'm guilty. Before I started doing pageant work, I laughed at it, and my models friends still can't believe I do it. But I've seen how all the skills needed to win one of these interview competition. These girls really go through an interview process where they're asked bio-related questions and then world questions.
and they still got to be cute.
World question. It's always been. It's funny because the judges I talk to, beauty, they just happen to be pretty. They don't say I need the most beautiful, because Miss USA doesn't do Fashion Week, and Miss America, Miss Universe, they don't do Fashion Week in any country. They model for our sponsors if the sponsor asks. They speak. The number one job of these winners is to lift self-esteem. That's the number one job. So they walk into auditoriums and say, listen, young ladies, you are pretty enough, smart enough, clever enough, cute enough, talented enough. You are perfect just the way you are. And this is really needed today, with there being so much low self-esteem and so many body issues and things. So I think now they're telling the girls stories more. In the last 4 years, they do what's called personal vignettes. And when the 15 girls make it into the top 15, they've recorded a road to universe. So they tell more of their story. But what did you say
I love
earlier?
that aspect.
We all have a story.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
We all have a story. So everyone has a story. We are really excited to be back here. We are excited. The holiday season is coming up. We are all grateful for what we have. I think I speak, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think I speak on behalf of everyone for that. And
I was talking to a friend about
for peace and
being
with
able to
families.
be content and still working towards, because there's a difference between being happy and being content. When you're content, you're coming from a place of fullness, from a place of like, wow, yes, I feel good. So to be able to come from a place of contentment and being happy with where you are in that moment and embracing the journey and still moving forward.
Exactly.
Forward march.
Exactly. Thank you
Aim
for being
high.
here with us. This was Takeover Tuesday, but you know that, don't you? And this is the Nat Wood Show, and he's in there being the control freak he always is. And I just want to say, Nat, we love you so much in a place where nobody else does. And yes, you are a genius. Crazy, but you are definitely a genius.
Drives
And
me
it is a pleasure to work with you and for you. And I love Takeover Tuesday.
Thank you, Nat. We love you.
We love you, Nat. Make sure you keep it on 30 frames a second, because here is where it's happening, baby. Takeover Tuesday, 30 frames a second, the Nat Wood Show. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent
Don't
show.
forget to
Once
aim
again-
high
Yeah. You got to dream
and
big.
stay focused.
Got to dream big. Put
Exactly.
verbs in your sentences to make it come true.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good show, ladies.